Hello everyone, Norma Woodcock speaking to you from Perth in Western Australia, and I'd like to speak in the 22nd Sunday in Ordinary Time Year C, and the theme, How to be Exalted. In Luke 14:1 and 7-14, Jesus urges his followers not to covet places of honour and to always act out of unselfish motives. And Jesus says that those that humble themselves will be exalted. I want to read you a piece about places of honour. Once the mayor of a town invited all the people of the town to a banquet. Among those who showed up was a man of great distinction by the name of Daniel. Daniel was a great scholar and a wise man, yet he was very humble and didn't like being honoured. When he arrived, the mayor naturally invited him to sit at the top table. Daniel thanked him, but said he would prefer to sit among the poor at the table nearest the door, and that he did. When other distinguished guests arrived, the mayor invited them to sit wherever they liked. Naturally, they chose to sit at the top table. The banquet hall filled up, and eventually the only place left was one at the bottom table. Then at the last minute, this distinguished man arrived. The mayor had no option but to take him to the vacant seat. "But this is the bottom table," the man protested. "No, this is the top table," the mayor replied. "I don't understand," the man said. "Wherever Daniel sits is the top table," the mayor answered. The moral of the story, it's not the place that honours the guest, but the guest that honours the place. We don't know in what place Jesus sat during that meal, but wherever it was, that was the place of honour. And I guess where my heart was taking me when I was preparing this teaching is we judge really so quickly and so wrongly. And I have to tell a story, and again, it's the story of my sinfulness and my brokenness. But I was going up to, in Western Australia, a place called New Norcia, and one of the monks there had given me a retreat, and they had a very eminent professor, a monk coming from overseas who was well regarded throughout the world and was highly acclaimed and very distinguished, and he was, really such an amazing person, I was told, and they were privileged to have him there. And because I had had some connection with the monastery because of this retreat, etc., they said that I could have copies. They offered me copies of his talks. So I arrived there to do another retreat, very full of myself and very proud and, exalting myself that I was actually going to receive the tapes of this very eminent professor, and, how special was I and how blessed was I and how lucky was I. And so I arrived at the monastery, and as I was going to my room, I looked disdainfully at this man sitting on a chair near the garden, and I thought, really, they shouldn't let these people into the monastery. He looked like he was the least of the least, the poorest of the poor. He had big, long, shaggy beard. His hair was everywhere. His clothes looked like they were going to fall apart. They looked really old and really shabby. And in my exaltedness, I thought, oh, well, I don't know why they've let this man come in here. Guess what? He was the eminent professor. I will not forget that teaching God gave me of judging when I had no business to judge, judging when only he can judge, and judging by outward appearances. So I hope that story does talk to some of you, because it's out of those experiences that we learn to be humble and to be small. It certainly took me off my perch and knocked me to the ground, and God does allow this so that we can come to a place where we don't judge as much. Everything softens and we gradually get rounded out a little bit more. I hope my funny stories have helped you, and once again I look forward to meeting you again next week. God bless. Have a good week.